Masculinity to me is how well you deal with situations.
The way you conduct yourself and the way you show respect to others, the way you just treat other people. I think it's more to do with intelligence now, with getting a good job, bringing money home and putting food on table, but in a different way to what they did before.
I'd say it's the qualities that people might have that are typically associated with what we might traditionally view as masculinity, such as people being quite either physically powerful or not wearing your emotions on your sleeves and things like that.
The idea of masculinity depends massively on how someone perceives a man compared to the next person. Using it as like a measure and like a level kind of basis of how much someone fulfills the characteristics.
A certain way of doing certain things that men have come to dominate and be expected to fulfill.
It's kind of got nothing to do with manliness or, I guess, acting hard or whatever. It's literally being a part of a gender.
Well, I mean, physically it's obvious what makes someone a man, but I think that anybody who would identify themselves as a man, as in they feel as in within themselves that that's what they are a man, they're a man.
I guess in today's society, or more throughout history, kind of being a man would be being seen as strong. Leadership is what is traditionally defined as a male role. Or being dominant.
I'd say we enforce masculinity on men with, first of all, how we're brought up, with how from birth we're given the colour blue instead of pink.
Wearing certain sort of clothes and being given certain toys as a baby.
Characters in films and what media and stuff like that are described as masculine, often portrayed in certain ways. I think we do enforce the idea of masculinity, like a kind of a concept of masculinity on certain people to believe it in that way. I think there's a lot of different aspects that can make a man or a person masculine compared to someone else.
Judge a man to be feminine by his appearance, by the way he looks, the way he dresses, accessories such as earrings, necklaces, rings.
If a man displays emotions quite a lot, then they'd be considered fairly feminine. Also, in terms of hobbies, actually, for example, playing instruments is typically not considered a very manly thing to do, whereas playing sports, for example, would be considered more masculine by people.
People insult men for being feminine because it's unorthodox, as men are brought up to be this big, strong character.
Probably say there's like a zone for masculine and feminine where like people are afraid to go for each gender once they sort of try to reach that other the other gender's stereotypical role. That's when sort of people start to worry and
It seems strange when someone's doing something different to what you're doing. It makes you question yourself.
I think when people are acting different to what they perceive as masculine, or say acting as someone would perceive as feminine, people are always going to say something, always going to have an opinion on it, and a lot of people usually are negative.
It's there within people's vocabulary. It's really difficult to eradicate, obviously.
I think if I did cry in front of my friends, I would have to be at an absolute limit.
I feel a lot of my friends would probably actually be really sensitive and understanding within that kind of situation, but I feel as though they wouldn't be, and I think I'd be more uncomfortable with me crying than they would. I'd feel really vulnerable.
Especially in front of my friends, because I know I always like to keep up a bit of a face in front of them. I'd only ever do it if I was really, genuinely, distraught, because it shows that this is serious now, jokes are over. Good kind of warning sign to your friends to say, right, I need you to step in now, I need you to help, I need your support.
I remember my dad crying then, and I was really young and I couldn't quite understand what was going on, but I really remember, and that was I think that's the only time I've ever seen him cry.
probably my only real experiences are when they've been drunk.
At first school, if somebody fell over and kind of grazed their knee or something, they'd always cry. No one would ever be kind of just okay about it, but at the same time I remember at first school that wasn't such a big deal.
Because it was a real shock to the system. Obviously you have quite big figures in your life, such as your dad or your brother or an uncle.
To see him display traits that at the time you thought were not very masculine, it's kind of, I don't know, it opens your eyes a bit to the fact that maybe, crying isn't it doesn't make you not masculine, it doesn't make you feminine, it's just a way of dealing with emotions.
It was just a film, so obviously we knew it all going to be sorted out in the end, but it was weird to see him kind of show emotion in that way, and it kind of shone a light on me, especially that, you know, not everyone's kind of always this big character in your life all the time. It's acceptable, you know, it's good to let people know that you do have that side to you as well, rather than just this character who kind of puts a face on all the time. I think it's good to show that side of you sometimes.